everybody. This is Jake Stenziano, host of the Wheelbarrow Profits Podcast, here with my co-host, the multifamily mentor, the coach, chef, the father of six, the best-selling author, the G-Daddy, Gino Barbaro. Gino, how's it going?
Mr. Stenziano? Doing good, bro. How you doing?
Let's crank this thing up. I got chainsaws in the background. I got 6 a.m. on the West Coast. It's time to go. And guys, this is where we would normally plug something to pay the bills. Now for our listeners, we only showcase products and services that we approve of or use in our own business. This time, the one, the only, the G-Dad is going to tell you about something of ours.
Mr. Yaki Boom Boom. As you know, we've been working hard at our community of like-minded investors, and the results of our members have been really pretty awesome, actually. We're looking to grow this amazing group. What we're looking for is those who want to follow the proven framework that we have, the buy right, the manage right, and the finance right. Leverage our connections, education, and mentorship as ways to take the business to the next level.
So if you guys want to take the next step, hop on over to jakeandgino.com/apply. And that's where the magic happens, man. That's where the rubber hits the road and you start going. So guys, enough shameless plugs. Today's guest is Jeff Greenberg. Since 2007, Jeff has been investing in multifamily and student housing assets in emerging markets. His group, Synergetic Investment Group, has purchased hundreds of multifamily units throughout the U.S. So without further ado, Mr. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing? Good morning, everybody.
Doing fantastic. Good morning to you. You've been in the game for a while now. Why don't you tell us a little bit about getting started in multifamily and why you did it?
Well, I got started in multifamily. I got started in real estate, mainly because I was going through a divorce and realized that the money I had set aside for my retirement was going to be split in half. My house equity was going to be split, and retirement didn't look like it was going to happen for a long time. So I figured I had to do something.
So what did retirement look like for you?
What did it then, or what
Yes.
does it now?
No, what did it then, and then what does it now?
I didn't. It looked pretty scarce. It looked like I'd be working till I was in my 80s. This was in my 50s, and it looked like I wouldn't ever stop working.
So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because I never want to stop working. To me, retirement is what I'm doing right now. So
yeah, except that was a W-2 job. I was always going to be working for the man. I wasn't going to be working for myself. So that was the point. So that's the difference now. Now I'm working for myself.
So what were you doing when you were working for the man?
I was in IT. I was a network administrator for a major technology company. And there was so much to do and so much to learn in the technology, which was always changing. And it ended up being that I didn't want to learn any more of that anymore. But I wanted to, do something for myself.
So I want to jump in real quick, G-Dad. Sorry about this, because he said something I think is so important. He got started at 50. Guys, so many of you are out there, man, am I too late to start? Is it too late to get in the game? Jeff, please talk on that a little bit, because a lot of folks would be, at 50 years old saying, I can't change, I can't uproot, I can't get into a whole new venture like real estate. And you did it. You're living proof of it. So can you dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, well, as I said, I was late in life that happened to be on a hike with a friend, and we were talking about what we're going to do and talking about the divorce. And he started telling me that he was going to get into real estate. And I had no idea what it meant. I thought, okay, real estate, you buy a single family house, you rent it out, you hold it, and then you save up and buy the next one. That was investing in real estate to me.
Mm-hmm. So guys, this is a newsflash for everybody out there. Anyone who's in IT, newsflash, you're going to get burned out. You're going to get replaced by guys who are a lot younger than you, who are going to make half your amount of money. So if you're in your 30s going into IT, I know, because I get the calls every day. Come over to the dark side. Come over to multifamily. Take the baby steps. Learn. It might take a year, 2 years to get a deal. But just trust me. I know what I'm saying about this, because I've been doing this for the last 3 years, mentoring students. And I would say a vast proportion of them, and they're all very super intelligent guys. They're either in engineering or IT. They've got advanced degrees. But the problem is you're high earners, you're high W-2, and then the man will replace you when you're in your 40s and 50s.
The robot man.
And you're working exorbitant hours. Not that Jake and I don't, but you're working 55 to 60 hours. So if you are that person, I want you to leave a comment down below in the show notes and say, I am that guy. I want to change. And I think Jeff had his realization. He had a big enough why. I mean, the divorce and being scared of that retirement looming will put anyone into action. Now, you guys are probably in your 30s and 40s and you don't see that coming, but make your why big enough, because let me tell you something, time and moves so fast, and before you know it, you're going to be in your late 40s going, wow, I've got these guys in their 20s, and this technology moves so quickly, everything changes so quickly, they're downsizing, they're sending stuff overseas, and I know it's happening. So if you're on there and you want to become partly, I guess, either financially free or supplement your income, or just learn another skill, we're here, hit us up. Does that make sense, Jeff?
You're absolutely right that a lot of the stuff that we were doing was being sent overseas. A lot of the stuff, the supervision of a lot of the systems, that didn't matter where it was. In fact, a lot of times we would be able to do it from home. There was a lot of stuff that we did from home, from our systems at home. So there's no reason why it couldn't be in India or China or anywhere else. And you found, as you said, there was a lot of younger, more ambitious people that really wanted to get into it. In my later stages, I became more of a maintainer, an administrator of systems where newer, younger people figured them out, set them up, got them working. And I said, look, you guys do all that stuff which you think is fun. They think that's great fun. I say, look, I'll administer it. I'll keep it running. I'll make sure it's working properly. But I could keep my mind on learning real estate at the same time. I did that for many years, where I was doing the real estate and the IT stuff, and I was trying not to waste any of my gray matter on the IT stuff, and did as little as possible on that side and put it all into real estate.
Can you talk to us about your first deal, how you got into your first deal?
The first deal actually was a multifamily deal, so I skipped single family altogether, except for my personal residence, which I bought years back. I did buy that not owner finances, but we did it without a broker. So we bought and sold our houses by ourselves. So I did have that experience. Other than that, it was a 20-unit property. Actually, it was 5 fourplexes. It was 20 units. It was in Harlingen, Texas, which when I tell people about Harlingen, Texas, where the hell is that? For anybody, it's out near Brownsville, which is where Texas hits the Gulf and Mexico, right over there. Actually, where SpaceX is going to be doing future launches. But anyway, it was a slow growth community, which of course was a mistake. It was a 2007 build, and this was in 2010, so it was practically a brand new property. It was 100% occupied. We thought, wow, this is great. The problem is there was no upside. I mean, it was a great, property if we wanted to buy and hold, but the 5-year hold just didn't increase the value significantly. So when we were getting ready to sell, there was just not a lot of added value. The selling expenses were going to practically eat up everything that we made.
So what did you do with that property? Did you pivot, hold it, or?
We held it for 6 years, and the reason it was 6 years instead of 5 was that we drew a line in the sand what we were going to sell it at. That way our investors would get a little more return, and we would get a little more return, and we just kept hanging on until year 6 we finally got the price that we wanted.
And what were the big learning lessons?
What was that?
What were the big learning lessons from that deal?
The big learning lessons is you need a value add. A stabilized property all by itself in a slow growth market wasn't going to happen. So, the size of the market, the movement of the market just didn't happen. We thought there was a new, just as we were buying it, there was a Bass Pro Shop being built in the city, in the small city, 30,000 city, and there's Bass Pro Shop. Wow, everybody's going to be coming here. All kinds of businesses were going to be coming there. We thought, hey, this was really going to be spur the growth. Well, that didn't happen. Bass Pro Shop is there, great shop, but the other businesses didn't swarm there. Mm-hmm. Now, once I start launching SpaceX down, 40 miles from the property, that could start some growth, but we didn't have that. Mm-hmm. So the slow growth market, the 100% occupied, the new property, there was just no upside. We were having trouble raising rents, and that was our big upside, and that happened real slowly.
So let me ask you.
So our investors did fine. They got their returns.
Yeah. So I mean, on the flip side, it wasn't too bad for your first property, because if you had, the deal that Jake and I had with the weekly renters and the pills, as Jake likes to say, and the septic field exploding, that's a different scenario. So, on your first deal, so what propelled you to go to your second deal? What was the difference between the first deal and the second deal?
Okay. I mean, first, let me make a comment. Yeah, it was that first deal was an education. Mm-hmm. That was an education. All it cost us was time. Everybody made some money. The investors did okay. They didn't they didn't get what we projected, but it was a great education. Everybody made a little bit of money. Mm-hmm. The second deal was a whole different story. The second deal was property in Houston, where we got it was totally off market. In fact, it wasn't even for sale. My broker, actually the same broker that I bought the Harlingen deal from, actually brought me the one in Houston. He did a cold call on a 150 unit property, asked if they wanted to sell it. They said no, but they said, hey, let's go look at this other property. We have a 62 unit in South Houston. It was 85% occupied. We got that one at a great price that my broker actually negotiated. So we had that one. So in, I think it was 2014, we got that one for $1.3 million. We got it up to 95% occupied, and in 3 years, we sold it for $2.7 million. So that was a fabulous property. Part of it was we raised prices. We brought in the RUBS. We got it 95% occupied. The other piece of it was the market compression. That the cap rate went down. Mm-hmm. So we had a perfect storm on that one. So investors had a great return on that one.
So Jeff, when was the point when you decided to leave your job and say, I'm ready to leave, I'm ready to pack it in? What was that point in your life?
Probably the day I started real estate. It just didn't happen for a while later.
But when was the day? When was that day? Do you remember the day specifically when you said, I'm not coming in today?
Well, actually, it happened pretty close to that, but it was during it was about 1.5 years ago, and it was during a review. And my boss was giving me a review, and the review was great, no problem. And he said, okay, I have this new project that I want you to take the lead on. And he started talking about this project, and I turned and I looked at him and I said, you know what, Dave? No. I said that's not going to happen. And so I said, I'm giving you 30 days notice. I mean, it was just as spur of the moment as that.
Sounds like something out of a sitcom.
I couldn't see myself working on a new project. The gray matter just wasn't going to do it. Wow. And he looked at me and he said, I was wondering when this day was going to come. Wow. Because he knew I was doing real estate. Mm-hmm. He knew I was working on real estate. And I just said no. I ended up giving him 30 days. I extended it to 60 days because there was some bonuses that were supposed to come out, and I wanted to make sure that I was around to get my bonus.
Wow. So what did everyone say around you? What were your friends, family members? What do they think?
Well, family members didn't say much. Friends, a lot of the friends at work had been hearing me. They knew my conversations. They heard my conversation with brokers and with investors and all that kind of stuff, and they were happy for me. That was the main thing. I didn't get much in the way of negative feedback from anybody, but they were just kind of, in fact, the comment from my boss after I had told him that I'm leaving, he says, "Hey, if this company keeps going the way it's going, I may be joining it." And he's been skipped over a couple times for some promotions that he deserved. Mm-hmm. So he was ready to go. But
so did he join you?
No, he didn't. He's still there working. I still go by the office and have lunch with him. We go out and have Thai food. So I get a bunch of buddies together and take them out to Thai, and we enjoy a lunch together.
Wow.
But no, he hasn't quit yet. They're all still there.
So you've been doing this for the last several years. How has your investment strategy changed over the last several years? Because the market has compressed, rates have compressed. How are you finding deals, and what are you looking for in a deal now?
Well, my strategy is changed several fold. One, I need a significant value add. I've got another deal in Ohio that was a great deal, but it didn't have a great value add, and it's doing fine. It's doing real good. Investors are getting some money, and we're getting cash flow. But value add, we're also looking to we want to make sure we have significant reserves because we don't know what's coming up. And we're also doing 10-year debt. So that's how we're, protecting ourselves as far as if there's something turns around. We want to make sure that we've got a good, we're prepared for the downside. Mm-hmm. As far as marketing and looking for deals, we're still talking to a lot of brokers. We are looking for off-market deals, but most of the stuff still comes from brokers. The difference also is I have a team now that's doing a lot of my preliminary work. They're the ones talking to the brokers. They're the ones doing the underwriting. So out of 750 deals that we've done looked at over the last 2 years that I've been working with this team, I may have looked at 35, 40, made offers on maybe 35. But I don't have to be the one now doing all that. Mm-hmm. I spend more of my time going to meetings, networking, talking to people, doing interviews, stuff that's a lot more fun. So that's essentially the change, but we're still looking at lots of deals and talking to lots of brokers. Mm-hmm. It's just that I'm not particularly doing them.
So what cities or markets are you focusing on, and what are you looking for in a market?
Well, we like the Southeast. We like the Carolinas. We have a property near Atlanta, so I like around Atlanta. I don't go look in Atlanta, but around it. Mm-hmm. Some of the markets around it. I stay far away from the Dallas and the Austins, and I would go back into Houston. I really like Houston. I think there's pockets all around Houston to buy. We're looking at a couple cities in Florida, Jacksonville, and a few around in there. We're looking. We're very opportunistic, so we're open to markets. Somebody brings us a property, we'll look at them. We'll look at it, and typically I'll tell my team, why do we want to be in this market? Do we want to be in this market? So we'll look at opportunities and do some research. So because I have a team and I don't have to do it myself, we could go and do a lot of that market research that is time consuming if it's a market we've never been in, but it gives us that opportunity. So when my team brings it to me, I make them give me a presentation. They give me a presentation on why we should do this deal, why we should be in this market, and all the information about it. So I'm open to whatever. But we do also have a property in Arizona, which I love having it that close to where we are. It's a lot easier getting to the property.
So Jeff, when you first started, I should have asked this before, did you start in any type of education, any type of coaching, or is it all boots on the ground and just self-learning for yourself?
No, I went the seminar route. I think Bigger Pockets may have just been starting. I had never heard of it. I didn't hear of it until years later. None of the clubs around that I went to, there was anybody talking about anything about multifamily until actually Dave Lindahl came to our local club and did a presentation, and then I went to his 2-day, I think it was his 2-day free introduction. And that sold me. I went into that, and I started going to his events. And so I stayed with Dave for a while. And even after I was doing it and didn't really need his education part of it, I was going to his boot camps for networking. So I went to a lot of his different events, and now I go to a lot of different people's events for the networking end of it to talk to investors and partners and that kind of stuff.
So what would your recommendation be for someone who's got a job, who really hates his job and knows that he wants some type of financial freedom and wants to get into multifamily? What would you say to them where would they start?
Well, everybody's different, but, typically I tell people, if you could find somebody that's doing what you want to do and to find a way of providing a service to them, to help them out, do that and work with them, sort of the apprentice type of model. If you can't find that, there's some good people out there that are putting on some good educational presentation and stuff. But, get some good references on who you want to go to and who you want to learn from. But typically, if you could find somebody that's really doing it, and it doesn't even have to be in your area, nowadays with technology, you can do everything online. But you find someone that you can help out. I get people calling me all the time. How can I get on your team? Or how can I be a part of it? And I'll tell them, first of all, I want them to get started on some of the basics. Learn the basics. Go read a book. Go to a seminar. Do something to learn the basics, and then start bringing me some properties that I'm not getting, some off-market stuff, and bring me a deal. I'll look at it, and if I think it's a piece of crap, I'll tell you. Or I'll analyze it and I'll look at it. But if it's a good deal, hey, we can partner with it. Or I'll tell them, say, hey, if high net worth individuals that can bring in some funds, you bring in funds, I'll work with you, and we can get you in as into the GP. So, people need to come in and give something back. They're either going to do it with money, they're going to do it with time and energy or something, but they can't just come and say, hey, mentor me.
Let me pick your brain.
yeah. Let me waste 5-10 hours of yours, and you're going to get nothing back.
That wouldn't be value in your time, would it, Jeff?
Right. You go and bring some value to me, and I love teaching. I love teaching. I've been running 2 different clubs. One of them I started working 2005 when I first got into real estate. I've been going to that thing every month, running it. I've got another one that I'm doing probably for like 3 or 4 years. And most of the people there are single family stuff. But I love to go to the meetings. I love to talk to people. I love to meet people. Plus, I go to another 3 or 4 meetings, every month.
Wow.
So I love sharing, and that's what I do. I share with people and I help people out. But if they want, to take my time, then they need to bring something in.
So, Jeff, for you've been able to do this, and it seems like you've been able to build teams and systems. How have you been able to do that over the last few years? Because I think the classic happy and fulfilled entrepreneur is the guy who's doing stuff that he likes, and it seems as if you like going to meetings and networking and spending time. How have you been able to build the systems and teams to actually take a lot of that work that you don't like off your plate?
Well, the people that are doing that, that was actually a group of people that grabbed me and said, hey, mentor me. And it was kind of, I said, wait, I really haven't established a program. And that was one of the things that I don't like to do. I would rather somebody else sit there and put the outline down. I said, okay, let's go and put the outline down and I'll teach. But the actual writing down my program and figuring it all out. So this group grabbed me and said, hey, can you put on some training? So we just got together with 20 people and I just started teaching. I really didn't have, I knew, what I wanted to teach, but it was because they weren't paying me anything. I had no obligation to prepare. I come in and I say, okay, here's what we're doing today. And I start teaching away, and it slimmed down to, about 9 or 10 people. And I kept teaching, and those ended up being my team. As far as they started finding deals, and we closed on a deal, we closed on 2 deals last year. and it just kind of happened because they found the deals. I taught them what to do. They did it. We found some properties and we got into a couple of real good deals.
Wow. That's actually great.
And now we got another 2 deals that we should be closing by the end of the year. But it was, I never planned this. It just worked. It just happened that way. So I've been doing a little bit more structure. And I've been working with, I think Trevor McGregor. He's been helping me out as far as building the business. And that's where I've had a little more assistance, is developing the business end of it and developing the systems. That's been a little bit more where he's been helping me on that.
In the beginning, it's a lot easier to get people to do that because when people aren't paying or are putting something substantial in, a lot of them will fall off. But as you start scaling up and you start getting people that want free time, they'd hand me an operating memorandum and say, here's a deal. So what I ended up doing is I ended up creating a 4-step underwriting program saying, if you go through these 4 steps, ask these 100 questions, analyze the deal, and you think it's a deal, send it over to us, and then we'll talk about it. But just don't send me an operating memorandum saying it's a deal. It's the worst thing in the world because anyone can get an OM from a broker. So
I don't want the OM. Hell no.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they go and bring that to me, I gotta say, well, what are you doing for this? I mean, even if I go and I look at this as a deal, what have you brought to me? You've brought, now I've got to go through this, and probably it's not a deal. No, I want them to go do it. I'd love to see your stuff that you give them as far as requirements. Usually, I'll go and tell them to go, read one of the books and figure it out the underwriting or something. Because that's not a lot of fun, spending the time teaching that end of it. So I want them to lift themselves up to a certain level, and then I'll help them from there. But if they haven't even made any attempt to get any kind of education on their own, then I don't know that they have any motivation, any drive. They have to show me that they're going to do something themselves first.
When we look at underwriting a deal, I created the program because I think there's 4 steps in every underwriting. You have to look at the market first. So if the market is well and you like the demographics, you like the numbers, the jobs, population, game on. Okay, let's choose the market. The next one is the actual owner. You have to ask the owner questions. If the owner is not motivated, you're not getting a deal. Why is he selling the deal? What's he going to do with the money? Those kinds of questions need to be answered. If the owner is not motivated, chances are there's no deal. The third one is property questions. What's the unit mix? How old are the roofs? What's going on with the property as far as CapEx? Those are important. Those 3 sets of questions need to be answered. If everything looks like it's in alignment, then let's dive into the financial underwriting, which is the 4th piece. And if you don't take that deep approach, I don't say you have to do that on every deal, but on a deal that is back of the napkin kind of thing where, hey, this looks like a pretty good deal, let's dive in deeper. And once you dive in deeper and you have a team to do that, let's do that deep analysis of it. Things will start fleshing out. Well, you know what? These are all studio apartments. Maybe it doesn't work for me, but let's at least try the numbers. So I think people need to take a holistic approach on underwriting. They're not about the numbers. It's just not about the market. If the guy's not selling or there's no motivation, you're wasting your time. So in this business, time is money. So move on to the next deal. So that's how we've tried to structure it and to teach our students. And more often than not, if they don't spend the time, when you first start out in underwriting, it's clumsy. It could take you an hour to do a deal just in that process by answering those questions. But you have to be detailed when you're looking at these deals, especially now because they're really hard to find. So that's what we're teaching right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, I've had people bring me the OM and say, "Hey, this is great property," and I said, "Yeah, so is the Empire State Building. It's great property." But is it going to work? Hell no. So it's a pretty property. It's beautiful, great, trophy property. That doesn't mean anything.
So before we get to the short answer questions, it seems as if you started getting investors on. Do you have any tips for the listeners about how to raise capital, how you started raising money for your deals?
I go to a lot of different events and talk to a lot of people, and I don't like doing sales. I just tell people what I'm doing. How excited I am about what I'm doing, maybe, talk about, some of the properties I've looked at or whatever. I mean, if I tell people what I'm doing and they kind of just gloss over and aren't interested, okay, you go on to the next topic or you talk about something else. But it's mainly, I do go to a lot of real estate events and a lot of people are in the single family or they're in the fix and flips, but I talk to them about multifamily. I talked to him about student housing, which, even is a smaller niche than the multifamily, and people start asking, isn't that risky? And we just get into conversations,
Mm-hmm.
and that's typically how I meet people. And then I've met a bunch of people on the different podcasts that I've been on, and I do try to go to different events where there's a high net worth individual. I've been to Chamber of Commerce's, and I'm going to start going to some of these different charity events. A lot of times you meet different people there, but just a lot of networking.
Mm-hmm.
Best quote of the day. I didn't plan for any of this.
I didn't. I didn't plan to build a company, and I've told I had my own company, but I didn't plan on bringing in this team. And I said, look, I don't know where this is going to go. And as it is, we're going to be getting 4 properties now. I mean, we've got 2, we've got another 2 since we've been together. And we've got a bunch more down in the works that hopefully we'll be working on for next year.
That's great.
That's really cool. What is your best habit for success? Are you a very structured guy? I know you said you're taking the dog out here for a walk in the morning. Anything that you do on a consistent basis that's led to your success?
I work my ass off. I don't know. I'm just determined. I do try to write down my notes before I go to bed as far as what I want to do the next day. What I usually find out is at 3 o'clock in the morning, I end up coming up with my best ideas. I wake up and I try to scribble it on a piece of paper so I can remember it when I get up. But typically I'll get up in the morning. I get up at 6:30. I'll come in, look at the computer, check my emails, take the dog out, or I'll go out and take a bike ride. I do cycle. I try to keep myself physically in good shape. As you get up in your years, it's harder and harder to do that. So I do that. I meet with my team twice a week. Well, actually, we use technology a lot, so I'm able to communicate with them constantly online. But I don't know, just taking notes as far as what I need to do the next day. That usually gets me focused on things in the first thing in the morning.
As your former governor said, nothing replaces hard work. All right? So don't forget that. Any value add strategies that you've been using recently that have been really effective? And a lot of guys come on, they'll talk about, we're doing fences around the downstairs garden apartments. And I know you sound like you're a big rubs guy. Anything that you've found creative that's working well for you to get the appreciation up? Well,
there's some that we're going to be implementing on this new property that we're in the final stages of. There's going to be, we're going to charge for the covered parking. That's a value add. Some of the other value adds are not going to more on the way of amenities that aren't going to really be bringing a lot of money, or maybe no money, but add to
higher occupancy means more money, right?
Well, the higher occupancy, yeah. The higher occupancy, we're trying to bring, this is a BC property, which we're going to pushing it more towards the B side. So we're going to be fixing it up a little bit, upgrading the units a little bit more. But also on this property, there's a huge area that used to be a pool, because it had 3 pools on the property. 1 was filled in, so they still have 2, but they never did anything with the area where the pool was. So we're looking at building some kind of community area, which would be a nice place for gatherings, and for people to sit and talk and sit in the shade and relax and barbecue and that kind of thing. There's a pool house that's just totally abandoned. There's nothing in it except for garbage. And we want to fix that up and make it somewhere where, maybe for different community events, it could be used. I don't know if there's going to be any charge for using it, but at least it's going to be it's going to be a showpiece that people can say, hey, let's go meet over there, or let's have a family gathering, or, a wedding or a birthday party, something that they can be proud of and do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that I find is a value add. Like I said, it's not going to directly bring in more money, but it may add value where people are going to look at that and say, hey, I like this place. Let's rent here. So make it easier to rent up and get higher prices.
Yeah, exactly. And just because it's not a fee directly associated with it doesn't mean it's not adding value to the community. Right. Because to your point, you may get that person to lease because he thinks I can have my kid's birthday here, or you may get, just the higher occupancy, like you said. So I think those are really important, and I don't think we should, downplay those at all, because it's going to bring the property up. And the funny thing is we've acquired many properties with these kind of dead areas. We call them Area 51s, and you got to go in and kind of bring them back, because they're just these dead zones on the property that people just neglected. So we've seen that many times.
Mm-hmm. But now also I was thinking also, one of the things, there are dogs in the property, and I know that people have put in dog wash areas, to keep all that dog hair out of the sewer system. You could put it down in an area. There is a fenced in dog park right now, which is tiny, very tiny. So we may look into doing something with that as well. But yeah,
the pet amenities are driving things right now. It's people loving the pooches. So what about a book? You mentioned, go out there and start to educate yourself. What do you recommend folks to read?
Well, it depends. There's a lot of books out there that can give some good basics. And, I've typically referred people to Dave Lindahl's book, Multifamily Millions. Mm-hmm. I think it's a great starter book. Joe just came out with a book. I haven't read it yet, but I've got it sitting here. Joe Fairless, his book should be a good reference. Like I said, I haven't really read that yet. But as far as, books that really have influenced me, obviously Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but the Cash Flow Quadrant kind of hit a chord when I read that. And then the other one that I think I live by is the email, and that's trying to work on my business instead of in my business. And that's my goal, is to have my team doing all the different aspects of running the business, so I could be on the outside looking in and evaluating and improving and that kind of thing. And for the most part, my team is doing that, except for essentially the fundraising. Mm-hmm. The equity raise is still mine, and I'm working on pulling, getting people to learn how to do that better. And I can spend more time developing the business and helping to improve systems. And I feel that's where my role should be.
Have you read Principles yet?
I listened to it on audio.
Yeah, I love that.
I didn't read that massively.
Yeah.
I did listen to it, and I loved it so much, I bought it, and it's sitting over here on my shelf.
Just so you can look at it.
Well, so I could go ahead and maybe take notes or something, or tab things. But yes, I listened to it on audio. Yeah, great. That's a great book.
It's a great one. How can listeners get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me. I'm on Bigger Pockets. They can get a hold of me at my email, jeff@synergetic.com, and that's spelled SYNERGETICIG.com. My website's the same name. They can get to me from my website there. That's probably the best way to do it.
But don't call to pick the brain. Bring the value first, or Jeff is going to click. He's going to hang up on you. So.
Hey, if that's one disservice that some people do, is tell people that this is easy, that you can get rich quick, and people come expecting that. And it's you can definitely earn a lot of money. You can definitely get rich, but more than likely, for most people, it's not going to be quick, and it's not going to be without a lot of hard work. And we all know that. And don't come in with an expectation that somebody's going to hand you something without you doing work. And that's my message to everybody. Work hard, and you could retire young if you start young, and you could make a lot of money. It's a great great opportunity, but it still takes a lot of hard work.
As our buddy Ricky G said at the live event, it's the best get rich slow strategy going. So
there you go.
And it took me 3 years. So, I mean, I think that for a guy that didn't know, not bad. Yeah. So
and you're still doing it.
Still doing it, and I don't have anything else to do. You know, I just
well,
I gotta do something.
as Gino said that he's never going to retire. Well, yeah. If you're having fun doing what you're doing, why bother retire? I enjoy what I'm doing, but there's different aspects that I would prefer to do. So I want to do those different aspects of the business, and I've got grandkids. I want to spend time with my grandkids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good stuff. G-Dad, anything else today?
I wouldn't say get rich slow. I don't want people to think it's going to take 10 or 15 or 20 years, but if you dedicate yourself, it's like going to college. I think within 4 to 5 years, the average person can become financially free, but they have to become financially savvy first. Then they have to take care of their financial house in order, second. Then they have to learn the difference between personal debt and business debt, third. So it's all a mind shift. Then they have to do a little bit of personal development as far as limiting beliefs and all that. So there goes the pattern. There goes the structure. It's all about, getting yourself set up for success. And I think multifamily, there's so many different facets of it, whether you want to be a capital raiser, whether you want to be an operator, whether you want to be a fix and flipper or a syndicator. There's so many different aspects of it. So I think, it behooves you to learn every aspect of it and then, resonate to the one that you really like and you really can help. And there's so many different people out there where you can, I don't want to say the word latch onto, but you can jump on their ship and say, hey, I can help you. Give me a little piece of this pie here, and I can really bring a lot of value to you. So I think you really need to focus on what you want to do, what you want to achieve. Because I've got 6 kids, and if I can become financially free within 3 to 4 years, move out of state and do whatever, anybody can do it. It's just that you have to have the desire and the willingness to do it. You have to have a reason why. I mean, you just can't be the kind of guy that says, I want to make money. We all want to make money, right? But what are you making the money for and why are you doing it? Because that's the important thing. I mean, I did it because I hated my job. Just like, I don't have a sexy story like you guys. I didn't fire my boss at a Taco Bell and I didn't tell my boss during a review to get lost. I was the boss at the restaurant. So I was talking to myself every day. I was trying to fire myself.
I was in my own head, man.
That's even worse, dude. You're walking around going, I don't want to be here anymore. So nothing worse than that, right? So I guess figure out your why. And really, the market's high right now, but I always tell people you can't wait until the market corrects, because when the market corrects, there's the opportunity and you don't have the education and you're not in it right now. So don't be discouraged that there aren't deals out there. There definitely are deals out there. The one deal that Jeff's talking about, we're looking at one, we're closing one in Louisville in the next 4 weeks. We've got another one on the table. It's exactly like it. You just have to be out there networking with brokers and talking to other people and bringing value. And I think that's what you got to focus on, Jake. I
love the fact that you just compared it to college, because college is a joke compared to this. You actually learn skills that are going to make you money that you could actually be done, working if you wanted to within a handful of years, whereas college is going to prepare you to, pay off the college.
To be an employee.
Yes. It's not even close. So,
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So people go to college for 4 years.
Learn skills.
Yep.
Learn something that you can actually do something. Learn skills. Don't go and learn about art history unless you're gonna find a way to do something with that, because you're just gonna end up with a shit ton of debt and you can find out all the information online.
Mm-hmm. So, Jeff, I want to appreciate you taking time out today and sharing your story with us, and I guess inspiring all those people who are, I don't want to say older, but are a little more advanced in their years and saying I can't do it. I don't know the credibility, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have this. Well, that's all out the window after this interview is over. So I just want to thank you for being on the show today.
Well, I thank you very much for having me, guys. This was great.
Thanks.
Peace and love, gentlemen.
Bye, guys.
You guys have a great day.
You too.
See you guys.
Thanks.
All right. Bye.